Hello, children. Today we will learn about the concept of the United Nations, reasons of its formation, and its members. The world saw the two world wars in the first half of the 20th century. These wars caused a huge destruction to mankind and to the surroundings. The First World War was fought between 1914 to 1918, while the Second World War was fought between 1939 to 1945. The League of Nations, an organization formed in 1920 after the First World War, could not succeed in checking war in the long run. It was renamed officially as the United Nations Organization after the Second World War. These wars are called world wars because of the involvement of many countries and their resources. Battles were fought in all parts of the world, on land, air, water, and these wars affected the whole world. The Second World War was fought between the Axis powers, Italy, Germany, Japan, and the Allies, Britain, France, USA, USSR. The destruction caused by the Second World War once again compelled the world powers to form an organization to stop wars. Do you know? Ally. Allies is a group formally cooperating or united with the others for a special purpose by a treaty. The term United Nations was originally used in 1942 for those countries which united against the Axis powers in the Second World War. Later, the term was used for the International Peacekeeping Organization. This peacekeeping organization came into existence on 24th October 1945 under the name of the United Nations Organization, UNO. Its headquarters are in New York. 24th October is celebrated as UN Day every year. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the President of the United States, coined the name United Nations. Originally, 50 members signed the UN Charter, India being one of them. Presently, it has 193 countries as its members. Maintenance of peace and security in the world is the main aim of the United Nations. The principles are: all member countries should respect the sovereignty and integrity of each other. Threat to peace and use of force should be avoided. Peaceful means should be used to settle disputes or disagreements. All member countries must take an active part in UN-related activities. The United Nations was set up with the following objectives: to maintain peace and security and settle disputes by peaceful means, to promote friendly relations among the nations, to remove poverty and unemployment, to ensure the freedom of all the people, to promote respect for human rights, to improve the living standards of the people around the world. The United Nations has its own constitution and flag. On the flag there is a world map surrounded by olive branches with a light blue background. Olive branches symbolize peace. The United Nations has 6 organs having special vital functions: the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the Trusteeship Council, the International Court of Justice, the Secretariat. The General Assembly has 193 members. These members choose the President of the General Assembly from among themselves. He or she is elected by these members for 1 year. The General Assembly works like a parliament and meets once a year. Special meetings can also be called if required. Every important matter is discussed in the General Assembly and each country has 1 vote. Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit of India was elected the first woman president of UN General Assembly in 1953. The Security Council. It is the most important organ of the United Nations. It has 15 members, 5 of them are permanent, and 10 are elected for 2 years by a 2/3 majority of the General Assembly. No country can serve for 2 consecutive terms. USA, Russia, UK, France and China are its permanent members, having a special power called the veto power. Thus, these 5 countries are very powerful as they can check the decisions of the others. Do you know? If 4 permanent members are in favor to take a decision, but one says no, then the decision of the 4 cannot be implemented. The main function of the Security Council is to maintain peace in the world and to see that there are no wars. The UN does not have its own military force. It asks the member countries to send its armed forces wherever and whenever required. These are known as the peacekeeping force. The Economic and Social Council. It tries to solve the economic and social problems and gives help to the poor countries. It helps in times of natural calamities such as earthquakes, floods, drought, etc. by sending funds, clothes and medicines to the affected country. There are currently more than 1 lakh UN peacekeepers in 16 peace operations. The Trusteeship Council. It looks after the trust territories and was established in 1945. Trust territories are those regions which were colonies under the foreign rule. All the original 11 trust territories have now become independent. The International Court of Justice. This court settles disputes between different countries. The International Court of Justice is located at The Hague, Netherlands. It is the executive branch. It implements UN programs and policies. The Secretary General is the head of the Secretariat and the spokesperson of the United Nations. The Security Council nominates him and the General Assembly appoints him for 5 years. He can also be re-elected. Antonio Guterres is the present Secretary General and belongs to Portugal.
Trygve Lie, Norway, 1946 to 53.
Dag Hammarskjöld, Sweden, 1953 to 61. U Thant, Myanmar, 1961 to 71. Kurt Waldheim, Austria, 1972 to 81. Javier Perez de Cuellar, Peru, 1982 to 91. Boutros Ghali, Egypt, 1992 to 96. Kofi Annan, Ghana, 1997 to 2006. Ban Ki-moon, South Korea, 2007 to 2016. Antonio Guterres, Portugal, 2017 till date. An UN agency is a department or body that provides a specific service for the United Nations. Some of the important agencies of the United Nations are WHO, World Health Organization. It was established on 7th April 1948. Its headquarters are at Geneva, Switzerland. It provides services related to health. FAO was established in October 1945. Its headquarters are at Rome, in Italy. Its main aim is to fight hunger. It helps in improving food production. UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. It was created in 1945. Its headquarters are at Paris, in France. It works in the field of education, science and culture. UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. It was set up on 11th December 1946. Its headquarters are at New York, in USA. It deals with children-related problems and aims at their upliftment. ILO, International Labour Organization. Its headquarters are at Geneva, Switzerland. Its aim is to improve the condition of workers around the world. It was set up in 1919 and became a specialized agency of the UN in 1946. The other agencies are International Civil Aviation Organization, Universal Postal Union, International Maritime Organization, International Fund for Agricultural Organization. The United Nations has played an important role to maintain peace and to settle international disputes. It has reduced tension in many areas through goodwill missions and peacekeeping operations. Its efforts have prevented conflicts from growing into major wars in Kashmir, Congo, West Asia, Cyprus, and Yemen. In 1988, the UN was awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace on account of the work done through its peacekeeping operations. The UN has opposed worldwide apartheid, the policy of racial discrimination in general and in South Africa in particular. The UN also promotes disarmament, that is, it plays an important role in arms control, particularly in preventing the use of nuclear weapons. The United Nations had been established before India got independence, but India was one of the prominent founder members of these organizations. After independence, India has participated actively in all activities of the United Nations. It has sent its troops on peace mission to many war-torn countries of the world. India represents the largest democratic country of the world and also contributes money to the United Nations. Let us summarize. The failure of the League of Nations and the beginning of the Second World War led to the formation of the United Nations 24th October 1945 at New York. Its main aim is to maintain peace and security in the world. It has its own flag and constitution. The United Nations has 6 organs and many agencies. 5 permanent members of the Security Council are USA, UK, Russia, France, and China. The Secretariat is the executive branch. Its head is the Secretary General.